While we don't exactly have official information about the final 2 characters that will be joining the Jump Force roster in Season 2 or Character Pass 2, thanks to some data mined information, we are fairly certain that we know the full lineup of DLC characters for Jump Force Season 2 and possibly Jump Force as a whole. So of course, that's left a lot of people wondering about a DLC Season 3 or a 3rd Character Pass, because of course, by the nature of this being a crossover anime game, a bunch of people didn't get the character that they wanted, which is absolutely inevitable. No matter what assortment of characters Bandai Namco chose, there would be fans who are out there who didn't get their desired characters. Heck, even if you took one of those fans and you made them come up with a list of 50 characters, and you said, okay, those are the 50 that I want in the game, that exact same fan would still have a bunch of characters that they wanted that didn't make that cut of 50, even if they handpicked the 50. I knew this conversation would pop up eventually. I expected it to pop up after Season 2 was done, but obviously with the recent data mine 2 characters, we're not going to talk about who those are just in case you're trying to avoid knowing who those are. But as soon as those 2 characters got data mined, people have been talking about the idea of Jump Force Season 3. And I figured I was going to do a video about this eventually, but what got me thinking about the topic was a tweet from almost a week ago now. It was from PS360, and he tweeted, so I'm pretty sure we might be getting a Jump Force Season 3. Now, he might know something that I don't. I'm not going to ask him about that, because if he does know something that I don't, me asking about it is essentially me asking him to leak it, which would be pretty unfair for me to do. But regardless of whether or not he knows something that we don't, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, it's not particularly important. If I had to guess, he probably just has a hunch rather than knowing any like exclusive information or anything like that. I think he even tweeted later on that it was just a hunch. The only reason I actually mentioned PS360's Twitter conversation here is because he actually made an excellent point that I was going to make in this video. When you talk about the idea of a Jump Force Season 3, you're gonna have a bunch of people saying things like a dead game, ain't nobody playing it, why is this game still getting content, stuff like that. Everybody who says things like that are just wrong, because the game is still adding characters as of Season 2. The game just got a release on Nintendo Switch. These things can't just happen. They're not just random decisions made by companies. They're decisions made based on data that they have. They're not going to put in development time and money and resources to make more characters for a game that people aren't spending money on. Why would they do that? That's just a waste of resources. You could take those same resources and start developing a new game instead of putting content into this one. But here they are, still putting content into Jump Force. And I was honestly quite happy to see that PS360 was making essentially that exact same point. People were saying, you know, dead game, dead this, dead that. And maybe this sounds a little bit silly, but I wanted to mention it because I like saw a bit of integrity there that I was quite proud of from PS360. It was really cool. It's incredibly popular to try and hate on Jump Force as much as possible, which is fine. You know, you can hate or like whatever you want to like, but you're empirically wrong if you're saying nobody's playing the game or it's not popular or it didn't do well. The game obviously did incredibly well, and that's why it's in the position that it's in now, where it's getting new content, it's getting a Nintendo Switch port, it's getting all of this stuff. And yeah, it's pretty rare that I see anybody kind of stand up to the plate and actually say that. But enough about all of that. What I do want to talk about is how likely a Season 3 is. And truth be told, I have no idea. But I can share you some thoughts I have about that idea. But if I'm being honest, at this point, Season 3 might be a bit of a disappointment for me. At least for my personal preferences, because pretty much all I want at this point is new series representation. Specifically, Kimetsu no Yaiba would be a huge thing to have in the game. Demon Slayer is one of the biggest anime IPs in the world right now, if not the biggest anime IP in the world. Obviously, you know, things like Dragon Ball and Naruto are more like household names. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, like, as of right now in industry, Demon Slayer is making the biggest moves, and it feels like such a big missing piece of the Jump Force puzzle. Now, I've talked about this before. It does seem like Aniplex has quite a big grip on the Demon Slayer franchise, and as a result, it might be a bit more difficult for Bandai to get that type of character in Jump Force, specifically Tanjiro or Nezuko or whoever, right? And then I also want to see a series like Jujutsu Kaisen, which is a series I've only recently started. It's on Crunchyroll for those who are interested, and that series is fantastic and also owned by Shueisha, and it is specifically in Weekly Shonen Jump. So I would love to see Jujutsu Kaisen and Jump Force, but all of this is almost certainly moot, because even if Season 3 happens, I'm fairly certain that Jump Force won't introduce any new series past the 16 that are already in the roster. We've already talked about this before, but long story short, Bandai Namco and Shueisha would have to obtain additional licenses to be able to add those series to the roster. So more than likely, a new season of DLC wouldn't actually feature new series. Instead, it would rely on the series that are already in the roster and add to those. So knowing that more than likely we wouldn't get any new franchises characters added to the roster is a bit saddening, because since the events of season 1 and 2 of Jump Force, both Demon Slayer and JJK have become some of my favorite series, and having either in Jump Force would be a dream come true, although it's almost certainly not going to happen. Though to be clear, that door's not closed. We could get a new franchise. I would just consider those things significantly less likely than just additions to the roster that we already have, as opposed to adding new series. What about a regular season 3 though, where they just add characters to the existing roster, whether it be more Naruto characters, more One Piece characters, more Dragon Ball characters, more Hunter x Hunter characters, more Yu Yu Hakusho characters, more Saint Seiya characters? Well, this is certainly a much more likely outcome, and I would be more than happy to get a season 3, although at this point, again, because I've become such a big fan of both Demon Slayer and JJK, it's going to be so disheartening to hear about new content coming to Jump Force and have it not be one of those two franchises. But that's not what matters. What matters is, will Bandai Namco be able to sell more characters for this game all the way up until a season 3? And personally, I don't see why not. You know, season 2 is doing really well. We're getting the Nintendo Switch port, but to be honest, I'm not exactly expecting a season 3, at least not right now. I wouldn't be shocked if a season 3 happened, but I'm not like predicting a season 3, right? I don't think it's a sure thing. Jump Force's Nintendo Switch release and season 2 kind of feel like a last big hoorah for the game. When they first put out that trailer for season 2, I believe the things that they said in that trailer were like, you know, the fight's not over yet or whatever, and then season 2, blah, 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 blah. My takeaway from that is like, oh, we've got one big last push of content coming to the game. Now, my interpretation of that could very well be wrong. There could very easily be a season 3 with like 5 characters or 4 characters or whatever. Again, I'm just not expecting it. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not predicting it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen, right? I wouldn't put money on it, but I think we would all be happy to see a Jump Force season 3. Even if you don't play the game very frequently, I mean, you're not going to be disappointed about a Jump Force season 3, are you? I mean, what's there to be disappointed about? If you don't play, well, then it's not a problem, right? Let other people enjoy the content. All right, that's going to be it from me though. Let me know what you think about the chances of Jump Force season 3. Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's not going to happen? Let me know in the comment section below. And while you're down there, let me know who you'd like to see in Jump Force season 3, if it does happen. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with future content. Leaving a like helps as well. My name is BILBZY, and I'll be sure to catch you in the next video.